Hello everybody, my name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author, idiot, and loin streamer, and today is going to be the a sort of year in review because a lot of stuff has happened this year in 2022. I want to go over projects, like writing projects. I want to go over the changes and things that have been done on the channel, things that in general have just happened, to sort of make this almost like a vlog in review-isk. Not really a vlog because everything has happened, so I'm just really I'm just sort of going over the stuff that has happened, partially for my own reflection, but hopefully also to bring you along on the channel. Some big things have happened this year. Some big surprises happened this year. One of those being just how far my mental health has deteriorated. So probably going to get emotional at some points during this video, but you know, I like to think that this channel is built on some authenticity and being real with you guys as much as I can. So I'm going to go over a lot of things. It is freaking 50 degrees in here. It is cold because it is like 35 degrees outside and I do not have a heater. So bear with me. We are all freezing today. If you can't tell by how red my freaking nose is. My gosh. So we're going to go over all of that stuff. I'm going to be sharing stuff I probably shouldn't share, and I'm probably going to feel bad about sharing like by the time I've posted this. But you know what? We are going to go through the journey of 2022. So what did I even freaking do this year? Well, in January, I finished working on Body More 2, which is now available. It came out in October, the end of October. I like to think that it's a very emotional journey, but you know, to each person their own. Some are just not going to vibe with it, and that's fine. After having finished Body More 2, by finished, I mean I went through editing and sent it off to my beta readers and my first critical partners that kind of give me their feedback, and like I have a couple that are very good at finding redundancy or finding where Joey is ranting for too long. And so then I can sort of review where she talks too much and pull back on some of that. So that went off, but that took a couple of months to get anything back on, which is unfortunate because that meant that Body More 2 was submitted to some contests before it got some critical readers because stuff was due, and I waited as long as I could until I couldn't wait anymore. After finishing Body More and sending it off to people, I had to find the next project that I was going to work on. Let me see what I actually switched to in February. Ghost Walks, I attempted, and also Cain and Abel. And for the next couple of months, March I did I switched over to Cain and Abel because I was sucking at Ghost Walks. April, I went back to Ghost Walks because I was not catching into Cain and Abel. May, I didn't even try to fill out my thing. June, yeah, by May, I had given up on tracking any of my progress. This is unfortunate month because, okay, then there's family issues in August. So, for the majority of spring, if not all of spring, I was bouncing back and forth between Ghost Walks and Cain and Abel. Ghost Walks is my supernatural, whatever it's going to be, set in a made-up town in Nevada. And I'm thinking that there is more sort of the mobster vibes in there than I initially planned for, or I initially thought. And so that book is not even in a full first draft. I got like halfway through and I was like, I misstepped in setting this up because I am missing some major vibes. So I restarted that, but I was just not feeling the main character's voice, so I couldn't focus on it. And that was also the problem in working on Cain and Abel, which Cain and Abel is my Jeffrey Dahmer-inspired story. And I just couldn't get into that voice and stick in that story for very long, because obviously I was going back and forth between these two things. Eventually, I think it was in August, maybe, I'd have to look at my log, I just decided I was going to start working on Body More 3 because I couldn't focus and I'd spent months struggling clicking into these other things. I'd started getting the inspiration for what to do with Body More 3, a better idea of it. So I was like, whatever, I'm not going to work on whatever might come out in the spring, and I'll go ahead and work on my fall book. So I've been working on Body More 3 since then, basically. Body More 3 is currently in the second revision. It's going to be around 130,000 words as soon as I'm done with this revision, and then I'm more than certain that this is the last revision, and then I will take it out and start editing it. And my goal is to have that ready for first readers. Well, it was before the end of the year, but I'm kind of behind on those revisions. I have like 4 chapters left, about 20,000 words. I have 5 chapters left, about 25, 30,000 words to revise all of the final chapters. I have a couple major revisions in those final chapters that I'm going to have to accommodate for. And yeah, but I like where it's going. Oh yeah, I also worked on the I went in and out of thinking of working on the Benedict Estate because that's another spring release. The Benedict Estate is the prequel to Dead End Drive, and that is going to follow the love story between Agatha and Bertrand, and also the relationships between Anna, Ellie, and Gavin as they grew up. So you're going to have that sisterly competitiveness where one of them is the legitimate child and one of them is the illegitimate child that she cannot possibly, that Agatha can't acknowledge. So there's that. But a lot of this year, if you can't tell, has been affected by like stunted creativity, and I don't know why. It was just really hard to get working on anything, and even once starting on Bodymore 3, it was a real issue to really get into it. A couple of surprising things that came out of working on different creative projects this year were, number one, as I worked on Bodymore 3, specifically in Revision 1, I started to get more vibes for Ralph and Casey. Ralph and Casey are characters that were introduced in Bodymore 2, and Ralph and Casey are more central in Bodymore 3, though Ralph is absent and Casey is really in the main cast. But they're both central to the plot in Book 3. And so in working on Bodymore 3, I've determined that there's going to be a prequel for Bodymore that features that specifically stars Ralph and Casey. This will be from Ralph's point of view, and it'll be 10 years prior to the start of Bodymore 1, where you get to follow Ralph in his experiencing Casey dying, and then his journey to become a medium, and what his experiences with the supernatural and the dead look like from his perspective. You'll get to learn a lot more about Ralph and a lot more about Casey, and as far as what I know about them currently, with the situations with the current project, their story is so special. Bodymore in general is special to me because it's all about compassion and second chances and recovery from trauma, and just how special that bond of care is among family and among loved ones. And so I really like what Bodymore is and what it's turned out to be, and I am really excited to see what Ralph's story ends up being like, a Ralph's and Casey's story, because you can already tell how much love they have for one another and how much care and investment they have for one another. And so I don't know, I like writing hopeful stories, even especially, that's one of the things that I've noticed is in general with my books and my stories, is there might be some terrible circumstances surrounding, but the terrible circumstances are not the end of hope and actually create there's always hope in the darkest places. Like even for the Yakuza stuff that I've been writing, which we'll get to that soon, that is another big surprise of 2022. There might be a dark situation, but there is hope on the other side to get through it. So there's that. That's pretty much the majority of what my writing stuff looked like this year. Yeah. For videos, it's been a lot of book reviews, a lot of random chats, and I'm pretty much going to be doing the same thing next year that I've been doing this year, which is just sharing what I'm reading, sharing what I'm thinking. If you guys have any subjects that you'd like to see me cover or like suggestions for anything, feel free to shoot them my way and I will see what I can do if they're in the wheelhouse. But for the most part, I just share what I feel like sharing or what I'm reading and then try to have a discussion with you guys either way. I still have to get my Lightlark video out there, okay? I say it's coming. I'm going to try to make sure that I don't just let it drop off. If anybody even cares about Lightlark discussions anymore, that's a thing, right? No, I want to get into... Oh my gosh. So Majima and the Yakuza stuff also tie in to the AuthorTube After Dark situation because it was through the Discord that Majima was brought to me. And the biggest surprise of 2022 has been that Majima has become a personality trait of mine. I mean, like, guys, you really don't know how deep this goes. One of the things that I'm most grateful for from this last year, one of the things, other than Majima, and I appreciate every last one of you that has fed more into this fixation, specifically Sam, my best friend, who has been like, here's some more Majima stuff. He helped me make this, helped me find this when I mentioned wanting to make it, and he has made me some art for my OC and Majima. So, you know, things. I appreciate everybody who feeds into who's feeding me fixation. But aside from Majima, one of the things that I am most grateful for that has come out of this year was the Discord for the creativity and people that are in sort of this community, or whatever you want to call it, because communities tend to get toxic. But so many of you guys that really wanted a Discord and a place to communicate. I have been so honored and so grateful to have gotten to know more of you guys so closely, and to get to see your creative projects, and to get to know your senses of humor and your personalities. And I can't say just, like, I can't express just how grateful I am to have gotten to know so many of you. And look, I'm not crying, you're crying. So thank you for being a part of the Discord, and for being a part of my life, and for, you know, it might be stupid, but I do appreciate you guys and getting to talk to you guys all of the time. And so I hope you know how much I appreciate you. I'm just sitting here gonna go, for real. Abigail knows what she did. But also, that Discord came out of the AuthorTube After Dark trio that was Katie from Year of the Author, Laura from Trinity Trope Trilogy, and then myself, usually meeting twice well, it became twice a week. So the last that I left you guys off on that is that there might be the book club returning in January. I don't think the book club is returning in January. I'm going to give an update briefly on everything that I know happened, and then that's just going to be the end of it, because I think you guys deserve to know at least what I know, and I don't want to leave anything in the shadows. So we started this just because I think back in January, after Katie broke up with her previous business partners. We might not have started in January, it might have been a couple months after that, whatever. But it was initially just going to be her and I on Saturday, and then Laura and Katie were doing Wednesday. And then, you know, we both obviously got cross-invited, and then somehow it turned into doing regular streams twice a week. And then in the late part of the year, I think July or August, we started doing the Problematic Book Club, where we were reading various books. And so that is what we talked about returning with come January, because in October we were all getting busy and we needed to take a break because there was a lot going on. I was doing midterms, Laura was doing her private life stuff, and Katie was doing her private life stuff. As it would turn out, I don't think any of that is returning. And I don't have any reasons to give you or answers to give you on why that is. Because what happened was we talked about taking a break in October and then doing short stories in November and December, and then coming back with Laura's pick for the book club in January, and that was Blood Air. I already got the book way back in October for this. But then Katie pulled out of the group chats that we were in without saying anything. And then the next thing I know is that you guys in the chat are telling me that a bunch of videos are gone. And then over the next couple of days, like, all of the videos are gone from the live streams, and eventually the book clubs, and then eventually also the convention or the conference panel that we did together in July. So she didn't say anything to any of us about deleting the content, she just deleted it. And at this point, in retrospect, that is just part of the course. I think when Katie is done with people, like, this is just me looking at patterns of behavior. And since she didn't say anything to anybody, I'm not assuming anything. But according to the public record by Caitlin and Zach, which are her previous business partners, she deleted their YouTube channel when she quit on them. She also used to do live streams with 2 other people, and all of those live streams are also gone from her channel. So it just looks like when she's done with people, she just deletes everything that they have. I don't know if she normally says anything to people, but she didn't say anything to us. She especially didn't say anything to me, period. I think she talked to Laura and Liv longer than she talked to me, and I don't know what the problem was. But I accept that I have a tendency to piss people off without even trying, because I just make jokes. And I don't know why people don't tell me things. Anyway, so basically got ghosted, all of the content deleted. You guys knew as much as I knew at the time, and still know as much as I know, except still pretty much know what I know based on this conversation. So if you have any questions on like what happened to the Problematic Book Club, if your stuff will be critiqued by the group or anything, or why all of those videos disappeared, you're gonna have to ask Katie, because she didn't talk to any of us about any of it, and that mostly hurt. Like, I kind of get sick of being treated like I don't matter, or the sacrifices or the friendships or the value that I put in other people is just not respected. It's not seen. And then I'm just disposable. I've been disposed by my family so many times now, including also disposed by more family this year in August. It gets to be a lot. Nothing on anybody. Good luck to Katie with her new venture on whatever it is that she's doing. But I wanted to give you guys an update on what exactly I know happened, as far as I know what happened, and how there's probably not going to be any more Problematic Book Club with us in the coming year, so you don't have to like be surprised when it doesn't happen, or be in the dark any more than I am about what happened. So there is all that. But I am at least grateful for the opportunity that AuthorTube After Dark gave me to meet a lot of you, and to then inspire the Discord that let me get to know a lot of you much better. And also because it brought Majima into my life. So we have that. And just so I saved the best for last, just so I don't end 2022's like roundup on negativity, because it's so easy for stuff to get sad. But let's talk about the good things. And so one of the best things to happen to me this year is the best thing that happens to me every year that it happens, and that I got to spend time with my best friend Sam. He and I have been friends since the late 2000s. We met through role-playing a guy online. I met him in person the first time in 2012, and it's been amazing to have him as a best friend all of these years. Look, I can't even talk. I'm just so sentimental, you guys. I know I say that I'm a robot, but there are certain things that get me. So he came down in July. Also oddly the same time as that conference that I did, conference panel that I did with Katie's channel. So he came down for a conference too, ironically. And then after the conference ended, you know, he hung out for a couple of days with his roommate, and we did things, and I almost died in the sun because I got a sun allergy and second-degree burns from going to the beach. And then our car that we were driving back, we decided to be total dum-dums and drive back into town at the hottest part of the day. And so then as we were driving across the bridge or an inlet, the cement was so hot that our tire popped, and then we had to sit on the side of the road for 3 hours waiting for a tow truck. And then we didn't know where the tow truck was taking the car because everywhere was closed, and then the tower was not getting back to us. So that was fun. It was drama, but it was, I guess it just makes it more memorable. But anytime I get to spend with Sam is the best. He is the designer for my covers. He spoils me by showing me his art, or by drawing things that are my characters, like drawing me stuff for Hitomi and Mishima, feeding the fixation. And I'm only upset that I dared give time to that panel for Year of the Author rather than spending time with my friend. But you know, you make choices and sacrifices to try to maintain friendships, and then you see kind of where they land and what happens, and then that's that. So, moving on from that, we've also got the greatest fic ever created, the greatest Yakuza fic ever created, was created this year, featuring Hitomi Sato, which is mine, Naoki Sasabe, which is Montana's, and then we've still got Amaro, who belongs to Dottie, and, you know, we're working her in. But it has been some of the most fun to write just this fic on the side for fun, and to integrate these people existing and how they affect the actual characters. And it's dumb, but I've had a lot of fun, and I still have a lot of fun, and now they've got children that also have their own plot line, and it is ridiculous. Also, we've saved Tachibana and Nishitani, and found places for them to exist in this new rewritten world. It is so fun. I only have 30,000 words written, but I have chapters to write for all throughout 0, and then all throughout, like, 0.5, and then some stuff for starting at Kiwami that now has to be rewritten anyway because we've got Naoki with Nishiki, and that everything just changes. Anyway, that's been super fun, and I look forward to doing more of that. I mean, seriously, this is where we are. But there's that. And then I also started drawing again, and I kind of suck, but I'm gonna try to draw more consistently-ish and try to get better, and we'll see how my art looks this year versus next year. If I actually continually draw, I've been telling myself that I was going to pick up drawing again for like the last 5 years, and it never actually happened. But I have drawn more in the last like 2 or 3 weeks than I have in the last 2 weeks, probably last 2 weeks, than I have in a while. So there's that, and hopefully I can continue with that. Look, we already got this. If you guys want to see like some of this cringe, let's do this. Okay, so this is the fantastic art that Sam has already made public. That is a drawing of Majima and Hitomi, okay? Sam is a magical artist, okay? And he saw her busted pots, and that's how things got started. Maybe someday I will make the fic public. Right now it's not public, except for when I talk about it. But then I also just opened this folder to show you where my art is from going through this year. The last 2 weeks. It's not great, okay? But it's here. Scroll. I don't know why I was even just like, you know, the lines are just too heavy for that for me. Just ignore the cringe. Just ignore the cringe. Best I can do. But you know, we're cataloging so that next year when I draw, these are me. You can tell the difference between like Sam, who is fantastic and amazing, and like me. But you know, cataloging, you can see what I've been working on and not sharing. This is Katsuo, which is the first child between Katsuna, I should say. First child between Majima and Hitomi, and he adores his father, and he definitely did drag with his father as he got old enough. That's obviously the Katsuna. You know, there's him outside of drag, doing, you know, a Majima pose. Oh, I want to draw that better. That was a D&D character for a very good friend of mine. Got a couple more characters here. Which Hitomi keeps changing every time I draw her because I haven't figured out how to draw her yet. It's whatever. Joey, Ollie, who is also mine, and then you got Tens, who belongs to Montana. I love his character and his character design and just everything about him. Obviously more Hitomi because she looks different every time I draw her. Tyke, who is my little cursed monkey boy at the circus. Got him twice. He's so sweet. And then we got Ralph and Casey with how they sleep. And Ralph just... he's a small man next to Casey who just, you know, he's got lead singer energy because that's what he is. Anyway, that's... I've got so many thumbnails on my computer too right now that are not developed that I'm like... I want to be able to draw these, but I can't draw these. Anyway, that's the state of my drawing at this point. I know, super hyper cringe, but we're trying. I've got some other things that I'm just like, I don't know if I want to talk about it, but everything that I'm doing right now is so time consuming. So anyways, looking forward into 2023, now that I've kind of gone over how I've spent 2022, I'm just going to ignore a lot of the emotional stuff that I've gone through this year that had to do with gaslighting. And being discarded by specifically people in my family. That was difficult, and it's really affected a lot of the way that I interact with other people. So if I back off of social interactions, just know that it's not you, it's me dealing with being mistreated by family. So there's all that. Looking forward into 2020, I know I'm probably going to regret having said anything, but I'm just vlogging at this point what my feelings were for 2022. It's been rough. Okay, for 2023, the projections for this channel are pretty much going to be staying the same. I started this channel just to talk about like the books that I was reading, to share the books that I'm reading, and I know that I'm critical, but that's just because I know what I like, and I care a lot about the art of storytelling, and it feels like when I'm reading contemporary books, a lot of people don't think through the choices that they're making, and they're just throwing stuff in there. Like, I'm looking at you, Grady. Like, you don't think through what you're doing. And so I like to talk about what I see and hopefully help others think through their creative projects, at least through the perspective that I have. I'm not saying that my way of writing is correct or that my way of reading is correct, but I do enjoy reading contemporary stuff and then discussing the craft behind it, or the lack thereof. So you're probably still going to be getting critical book reviews in general, because that happens. And I don't go into books generally trying to hate them or thinking that I'll hate them, or specifically to suffer. But I do recognize that I read a lot of stuff that is not necessarily going to be something I enjoy. I'm reading it for education either about the person who wrote it or about contemporary fiction. So there are those two things, just be prepared for that. One of the first book reviews coming out then the next year will be for Dark Harvest, because I need to talk about that book, and I'm looking forward to talking about it with you guys. Still going to be doing Yakuza streams, and may or may not move on to other games if we run out of Yakuza by the end of the year, but who freaking knows what's going to happen with that. There are a lot of Yakuza games, okay? And I want to take advantage of them as much as I can, which means doing sub-stories, so don't hate me if we just hang out and do sub-stories for a couple of weeks at a time, because I just want to hang out. I just want to do Kamurocho the way that you're supposed to do it, which is laid back and have a good time, and I'm not a completionist, and I'm not like a racer of this stuff. So I hope that we can just hang out and have fun. There will be more Yakuza music videos. I have at least 5 ideas right now planned, sitting in my folders, and I know there's going to be more as we go through games, and I know that as I hear songs, I'm going to be like, oh, I need to do that one as well. So those will be coming. Writing-wise, my goals next year are finishing Bodymore 3, which I said should be done hopefully by the end of this year, at least the revision done by the end of this year, and then start doing some edits, the line edits, so that I can get it through to the beta readers and first readers within the first couple of weeks of January. And then I'll be working on the sequel to Boom Boom Boom, which is going to be called Boom Shakalaka Boom. It's going to be so much fun. I'm looking so forward to working on it. And that's also something that came out of 2022, surprisingly. And you know where the idea for Boom Shakalaka Boom came from? It was because somebody on Twitter, I'm pretty sure it was Herman, mentioned Boom Shakalaka in a random tweet when he was responding to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have an entire plot idea now. Herman, thank you, because that's how my ideas work. So Boom Shakalaka Boom is going to take place a couple months after the end of Boom, and Jan is coming to the United States. He's going to go and visit Blake's family in North Carolina. That's her stepdad and her mother. And obviously he's going to be hazed by Blake's stepdad because they have a great relationship, and he kind of embarrasses her. 100% embarrasses her because she's not prepared to care as much as she does about the way he acts around Jan. And so you're going to have that. You're going to see just how much like her stepfather Blake is. And it's a lot. And the main crux of that book, and I'm sorry if I'm going to be prophetic again, because Boom was a cursed book, and I'm not going to be surprised if Shakalaka is also a cursed book. But what happens there is Blake and Jan get to America, and then after, they settle into the house, they're going to go and shoot a YouTube video, because, Jan's got to make his YouTube videos. So they go to a national park in North Carolina, and Jan accidentally makes a homemade EMP, and it shuts off the power, electricity, whatever, on at least a quarter of the East Coast, and everybody thinks China is attacking. So that is pretty much... And so then they've got to go and get, Jan to the embassy before the feds catch him and explain what happened, because this looks like a terrorist attack. And there's going to be a female agent who's introduced named Scarlett Johansson, and her entire job is to seduce Jan. And then, this pushes Jan and Blake to the extreme of their devotion, mostly Jan, because you've got, ScarJo over here trying to seduce him. But he's already sold on that girl. So you're going to see their adorable relationship. Blake is going to see this guy that actually genuinely cares about her, and it's going to be sweet, okay? Their entire story. I love Blake and Jan's love story because it's just so innocent. And so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be more over the top. It's going to be still ridiculous. And they're going to be driving a camper from North Carolina to probably Washington, D.C., maybe. I have to see where exactly that road trip ends, and I'm probably not going to figure out until I'm working on that book. So, Boom Shakalaka Boom is on for next year, and then after Boom Shakalaka Boom, I will be working on Bodymore 0, and so be prepared for me to talk about Ralph and Casey and Rocky, because they're all in 0, and so I'm looking forward to seeing who all is involved in Ralph's story and background, and what his life looked like 10 years ago. So those are my projects on this channel. I don't know entirely what books I'm going to read aside from the ones I already mentioned on my tier list from Thursday, but we will be getting general books, and I'm not going to do book reviews for every book that I read, but I will mention every book that I read when we get to the end of next year. So, and if I recall correctly, if I can remember and if I care enough, I usually don't like to carry my phone around out, and I like to be in the moment, but I am planning one Sam to come down here next year, and then I'm gonna go visit him at his place also next year, and may or may not remember to like capture video of anything that I'm going to do, but I will try to share that if I can. All things considered, this year has been a very challenging year, especially interpersonally, and the theme running throughout has been never being good enough. It's goals, you know, bigger writing goals, interpersonal relationships. I'm always short, and that's something that's always plaguing me in pretty much everything that I do and every time I interact with other people, is it's never good enough. And funny story, just to like highlight how much this underpins my entire life, is that I got that award for Boom from the FWA. And so it got the top of its genre. However, I still got the rubric that said you can't publish this. It's not good enough. Why? Because of the Ukraine and Russia stuff. Like, so I'm compared to world events and told that I'm not good enough, and I lost. So even at getting a gold, I'm not good enough. No matter how much I try with interpersonal stuff, I feel like I'm not good enough. I try to meet people where they're at, and I try to be understanding. And it works until I share anything that's short of a nod. And then it always seems to set people off, and I get scared of talking to people. So, just know that I don't know how to really do with that. I'm trying. See, this is probably way too honest to put on the internet, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to feel less bad, and I'm trying to let it go. You know, embrace the inner Majima. Nothing in life matters. Because if you take stuff with too much sincerity, people like to hurt you. So, like, why? And I've had a lot of that. Anyway, regardless of anything else, I hope your 22 wasn't as hard, though I have a feeling like a lot of people had a hard 22, because everybody that I've talked to this year about Christmas coming up, even Tate's nail clippers, which he's here somewhere, I pick him up, but you know, but even Tate's nail clipper was talking about how her clients were coming in and also saying they weren't prepared for Christmas, and we had a discussion, and it was just like everybody was just run down. And so it feels like everybody had kind of a hard year in very different ways, but still everybody is just So hopefully your year wasn't as bad. I would love to hear what some of your successes were in 2022, because let's end this year with successes and celebrations on everything that you are and everything that you succeeded in doing. I'm proud of you for whatever you've accomplished, and I want to see you accomplish more in the new year. Know that regardless of what you're going through or where you're emotionally at, I believe in you, and I want to see you succeed. So I'm going to leave you off with this cringe where I will serenade you, because there is no way to serenade, especially a cappella, without being cringe. Oh yeah, we're doing this. Maybe I'm crazy or a little naive, but the light at the end is brighter than it used to be. Got a long way to go, but I know I believe that the light at the end is brighter than it used to be. Told you it was going to be cringe. So there's that. Also, I still owe you guys some karaoke for Baka Mitai and the 24-hour Cinderella. So probably, hopefully I will work on those in the new year and get those to you as well. We will see. I don't know when they will drop, but I made that promise and I follow through on my promises, because that's how I am. At least I try to the best of my abilities. Anyway, this video is long enough. I hope it wasn't too depressing, but you know, some things just can't be helped when you look at everything else. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what your goals are for 2023, what you've accomplished this year that you are proud of, and let's celebrate together, because I want to celebrate. You know, it sucks to not have someone to celebrate your successes with. So, you know, I got my Majima fic. I got all of this Majima Everywhere support. I will obviously need to get a standee at some point so he can be back here somewhere. Oh, that is something. I was going to freaking do my wallpaper for this video, because I have the wallpaper sitting here. It's been over there since before Thanksgiving, and I've been putting it off, and then I was like, I will do it during Christmas weekend. But it is so cold in here that I can't use the glue. So I have to wait. But we will get, this wall will not be drywall next year. I promise. We are cleaning this up. And then we're going to decorate some things. So that's not just a gray wall. We're going to figure this out, okay? That said, thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Have a great weekend. Have a great end of year celebration. I look forward to the loin stream. I forgot to freaking, how did I forget to mention the loin stream? We're going to continue doing the loin stream as long as we can continue to loin stream. But if you guys liked the audience interactive of this year, then we may make this an annual thing where next final loin stream will also be a loin fam special. So let's keep that in mind. So, that said, thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to your thoughts down in the comments below. Congratulations for making it another year. Care about you. You're great, really. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Have a great weekend for the last time in 2022. Don't die.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out?
The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him.
Cross isn't a killer. For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die. Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Why? Did you do that? To the left, plain black letters read along the wall. You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right. My vision goes blurry. Flickers black and black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me. Where the hell am I? You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?